Over the past century, it has become increasingly apparent that various civilized cultures have thrived in the Americas for thousands of years. However, it seems one group was the mother culture of all Mesoamerican civilizations, and they were known as the Olmecs. But just exactly who were the Olmecs? Where did they come from? And how did they make such great leaps in astrology, engineering, and art? Let's find out together. Who are the Olmecs? Over 2,500 years ago, while parts of the Mediterranean, such as Greece, were experiencing a golden age of culture, a mysterious and complex civilization was approaching its end in Central America. This society was known as the Olmecs. Little is known of the culture except for the fact they played a prominent role in the advancement of several other later peoples of Central America, including the Mayas, the Toltecs, and the Aztecs. The Olmecs left very few written records, yet archaeologists have discovered a few unusual collections of symbols that could eventually prove to be a hieroglyphic writing system. What the Olmecs did leave behind, however, was a vast amount of art and sculptures in the form of megalithic heads, images of gods, and even men morphing into jaguars. The Olmec civilization arose along the Gulf Coast of southern Mexico sometime around 1500 BC, but possibly much earlier. They developed their unique culture in a fertile region known as the Coatzacoalcos River Basin. This allowed the Olmecs to grow at a substantial rate in a similar fashion to other cultures that arose in fertile regions such as the Indus, Nile, and Euphrates. While archaeologists have worked on various sites associated with the Olmecs, including La Venta, San Lorenzo, and Laguna de los Cerros, their ethnic origins are still up for debate. The complex society has puzzled researchers for well over a century. We don't even know what they called themselves. The name Olmec is actually what the Aztecs called them, and it meant rubber people. Their presence was known throughout Central America, and they had extensive trade routes that stretched from their homeland in southern Mexico as far away as present-day Nicaragua. They traded a wide variety of items, including stones such as obsidian, serpentine, mica, jade feathers, myrrh, and of course, rubber. The achievements of the Olmecs. The Olmecs are credited with much of the progression of Central American culture. It's been suggested they may have been the progenitors of the advanced calendrical systems used by various other Mesoamerican cultures, including the Maya and the Aztecs. It is also believed that the Olmecs had a concept of zero, which was vital in the creation of the long count calendar. If scholars could decipher what the strange hieroglyphic symbols mean, it would also prove that the Olmecs were the first people in Central America to use a writing system. The Olmecs are credited with creating the fascinating Mesoamerican ball game that was a realistic part of society. But one of the best little-known facts is that the Olmecs were the first to discover chocolate. They harvested the cocoa beans and used them to create an unsweetened and bitter drink that likely had a various health benefit. But most impressive of all was the Olmec architecture. It seems they were the first of the Mesoamericans to begin a tradition of pyramid building. One of their best preserved examples is the Great Pyramid of La Venta. It stands out at a respectably 34 meters high and was constructed using over 100,000 cubic meters of earth. However, what the Olmecs are best known for are the enormous megalithic stone heads, typically carved from basalt. These heads can range in height from 1 meter to 3.5. These captivating heads portray the level of craftsmanship that was available during their era. The stones were brought from the Sierra de los Tuxtlas Mountains of Veracruz. Considering some of the larger heads weigh approximately 60 tons, the rough slabs could have weighed over 100 tons and would have been transported over 50 miles to the sculptors. The religious aspects of Olmec culture are also thought to have influenced later cultures. Evident from their various motifs, the Olmecs had a vast pantheon of deities that they revered. This included jaguars, dragons, maize gods, and even a feathered serpent. The serpent would be a symbol heavily worshipped all across later cultures, including the Maya, where he was known as Kukulkan and Kuquetzal by the Aztecs. The Olmecs also have a special connection with natural places such as cenotes, deep bodies of water, and even caves. To them, this represented a connection with the sky above the water and the underworld below it. Where did the Olmecs come from? One of the most intriguing aspects of the Olmec culture is researchers really can't decide where they came from. While various theories have been put forth, they are all yet to be proven. One popular theory put forth by alternative thinkers is that they came from the Indus civilization following its eventual demise. The Indus people thrived in modern-day Pakistan and northwest India along the fertile Indus River plains. The Olmecs and Indus cultures share various similarities, including an avid fascination with astrology and an agrarian lifestyle. One of the main points for suggesting the Olmecs originated is based on the discovery of hundreds of small figures that supposedly depict yogic poses. It's thought that the practice of yoga first began in the Indus religion before it spread throughout much of India and Eastern Asia. Another major factor is that the Indus Valley began to decline around the year 1800 BCE, just a few centuries before the rise of the Olmecs. The theory that the Olmecs originated in the Indus Valley isn't too far from what mainstream archaeologists believe. The most popular theory put forth by academia is that the Olmecs originated in Asia, but like other Native Americans, they entered North America during the last Great Ice Age. But is there a chance that the following major collapse of civilization in the Indus Valley and the abandonment of cities such as Mohenjo-Daro, could the Olmecs have sailed to Central America? Others have suggested that some kind of African origin for the Olmecs due to the facial features found on some of the megalithic carved heads. While this may have been more of a fantasy, some scholars still argue that many figures have African-like features. However, this theory tends to be disregarded in favor of the Asian migration, the disappearance of the Olmec people. The Olmecs thrived on the southern coast of Mexico for well over 1,000 years, but by the 4th century BC, the culture seems to have all but vanished. The various urbanized agricultural cities such as La Venta were abandoned, and the Olmec people seem to have moved out of the once fertile region. Some researchers have suggested a combination of natural ecological changes and a reduction in the fertility of the area. Whatever the cause, it's still widely up for debate. However, one thing that's for certain is the stone heads, jade sculptures, and pottery in the Olmec style, with their distinct motifs, were no longer created. While this is a popular theory, another suggests that the Olmecs may have been pushed further south in Central America. Many of the sites associated with the Olmecs have suffered systematic or deliberate destruction that's been dated to the 4th century BC, which coincides with their disappearance. This destruction is clearly evident in the once great city of La Venta, where even to this day, blocks and rubble lie scattered around the site, give the impression it was deliberately destroyed. One theory about the fate of the Olmec people suggests they moved to other areas of Central America. Since the Olmecs vanished around the same time that the Maya rose to prominence, it's been suggested that the Olmecs moved south in search of a new homeland. This has led some researchers to believe that Olmecs either became the Maya or intermarried with other native groups, thus beginning the era of the Maya. This makes sense in some regards, as the Maya had a culture almost identical to earlier Olmecs. They adopted the calendar system and the ball game, and the Maya cities also had an agrarian lifestyle. The Maya even had a fascination with mathematics and astronomy, just like the Olmecs. The Olmecs have remained one of Mesoamerica's most mysterious and unique cultures. Their part in the advancement of the various Central American cultures paved the way for thriving civilizations to arise in this part of the world. Yet their mysterious origins and disappearances have left researchers baffled and fascinated for over a century. If you like what we do, subscribe to the channel to be the first to know when we have a new video.